So can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
All right, cool. So move this out of the way so it's not blocking. So this is based on like the old foundational work, which was like the 3-tier approach that the content team and the learning strategies team worked on earlier this year. This has since been refined. I think I shared out in that summary those 16 different commands and workspaces in Fusion that the Fusion team shared with us. So this is just to show the idea that kind of building off your inspiration, Toby, around maybe you have tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 skills, and you could actually go in and see that those simplified bars of progress are actually broken down into different areas like file structure, UI, navigation, modeling, and the fact that you might actually be able to click on them and see like what level you are, maybe even to the micro point of like how many times you actually use that skill, and whether or not you might even be certified or done some kind of a course for that. But then this little rocket launching thing, this kind of like pulsing over here, is the idea that I think our opportunity is to look for ways that don't just track people's usage in the product, but like track it and then look for opportunities to have them validate that they've learned something and kind of surface these genuine learning moments. So maybe you could launch something where it gives you, some kind of game-like reward feedback that you've done something, you've achieved something. Maybe it actually is, based on the amount of commands that you've done, it might say choose from one of these 3, like 4 or 5 minute little modules to learn something more or to validate that you've actually know how to do those things. And as a user, you could scroll through. Maybe it has deeper ways to show more statistics kind of buried in there. I'm even excited about the opportunity to say that our skill map actually has the ability to show on the skill map like what actual models you built that use those skills. So you could actually have a paper trail or a history, so that your skill map actually is tied to all your past models, so that you can actually go back in there and see like, oh, I know these skills, and I know them because I've actually used these actual models are the ones I actually built. And this kind of makes you open up the idea of like learning is all about doing something and then reinforcing it and then revisiting that information and kind of doing it again. So I'm kind of thinking about the idea of how do you give people an opportunity to build something, maybe like a small tutorial, and then encourage them to go back and do it again, to kind of cement those skills, to try things a different way. Because I'm really excited about using the cloud computing and machine learning to actually, if we send people through courses to build things a specific way, then we could create best practices based on the way that different users in different industries build those same exact models. And then we could actually kind of score your model and say like this one might be 80% towards a perfect approach to building something from a particular mindset, whether it's design or engineering. And then that would encourage people to genuinely want to go back in there and figure out, well, why isn't my model optimized? And so use this idea to optimize it as a way to encourage genuine iteration with your actual models. And then the last thing I want to show you that my colleague Kieran, his name's Kieran Grealish, he's a game designer, he built this prototype you're looking at. So he's just playing around with the idea of like maybe you start blurring out some of these things so that they're advancing, but it gives you like a motivational message about like if you want to do something more in this, to interact with it. The thing I'm most excited about right now is this idea of like he's just doing some interaction explorations here. But imagine if we showed that kind of massive periodic chart of all your skills, and it's like a heat map. But if you could actually like click it, and then they actually compress into a more simpler visualization, so you can show things much more granular, almost like a CAT scan. But then we could play with different ways to organize them and move them around. So, and I think for me, the thing I want to get out of this week, working with you guys and working with my data science partners and local Fusion experts is to figure out, like, taking those 16 commands and workspaces, what would a draft of a direct chart of Fusion skill maps look like, and then we could all start to use that to play with and see what it would look like to think about a skill map for students, for industry, for educators themselves. So that's kind of what I'm excited about these days. And I'll stop sharing my screen. All right. Hello again.
That was really cool. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. There's a lot of momentum building, and I'm very excited to be collaborating with you guys, because I continue to be impressed how we'll always come together and have these different perspectives, but everything gets enriched by all of our different ideas.
Yeah.